I didn't really understand. Didn't really know if I'd ever get there again. And this is the way it all transpired today. There were so many different scenarios that could have transpired on that back nine.
Tiger Woods' private jet has always been a mystery, but whispers from insiders suggest shocking discoveries inside, things that reveal far more about the man than his game ever could. From alleged hidden keepsakes to surprising luxuries, the story will leave you speechless. Keep watching and hit subscribe now. For years, Tiger Woods' private jet has been one of those mysteries that fans, reporters, and aviation hobbyists couldn't stop talking about. People saw it parked on runways, caught a glimpse of the sleek white fuselage, maybe even spotted the tail number, but no one really knew what was inside. It was almost like a legend. Every so often, a photo would pop up online, showing his Gulfstream G550 touching down at some far-off airport. But what was going on inside? That part was left to speculation. Fans wondered if it was just luxury seating and fine dining, or if the jet carried something far more personal about Tiger himself. And then came the day when insiders got a closer look. What they described wasn't just another high-end jet. It was a flying reflection of Tiger's life, his struggles, his victories, and even some private details that no one expected to find on an airplane. Tiger's choice of jet is no ordinary plane. The Gulfstream G550 is one of the most advanced and respected business jets in the world. It's designed to connect continents without stopping, with a range of nearly 7,000 nautical miles. To put that into perspective, it can fly from Florida straight to London, Tokyo, or Dubai without refueling. Powered by two Rolls-Royce engines, the G550 climbs quickly, cruises smoothly, and gets its passengers where they need to go with unmatched speed. Inside, the jet can carry up to 19 people, though Tiger usually flies with a much smaller circle: close friends, family, and trusted staff. Owning one of these isn't cheap. The price tag for a new G550 hovers around $50 million. Add millions more every year for fuel, pilots, maintenance, and storage. For most, it's out of reach. But for Tiger Woods, a man whose career earnings and endorsements span decades, it's a manageable investment. Still, it highlights how rare it is for even elite athletes to own such a machine outright. But for Tiger, this jet isn't just about luxury. It's about control. Control over his time, his travel, and his privacy. And that's something far more valuable than just another status symbol. Of course, owning a private jet doesn't mean you can stay completely off the radar. Aviation rules require every plane in the United States to display a visible registration number. For Tiger, that number is N5172, registered under a company called GTW Corporation. Insiders have long said GTW is linked directly to his personal travel operations. And that's where the mystery deepened, because once the tail number was out there, aviation hobbyists and reporters began connecting the dots. Even though Tiger signed up for a federal privacy program that blocks some public tracking data, enthusiasts still found ways to monitor the plane. How? By using small receivers that pick up signals transmitted by the jet's transponder. These signals include altitude, speed, and location, and they can't be turned off. Fans began sharing updates online, posting photos, and even predicting Tiger's movements based on where the jet was seen. It became a breadcrumb trail. Each takeoff, each landing was like a clue. And those clues often revealed more about Tiger's life than any official press release ever did. Over time, people started noticing patterns. And those patterns told powerful stories. In 2015, Tiger's career was clouded with uncertainty. He had been dealing with injuries, and no one knew if he would play in the Masters. Then, just days before the tournament, his jet was spotted at Augusta Regional Airport. Suddenly, the rumors shifted. Was he really preparing for a comeback? Within days, it was confirmed. Tiger would play. Fast forward to 2022. After his devastating car accident, many doubted he'd ever compete again. But in early April, there it was, Tiger's jet, seen again in Augusta. The timing was too perfect to ignore. Within hours, speculation exploded online. And sure enough, he announced his return, marking one of the most inspiring comebacks in sports history. It wasn't just Augusta, either. In 2022, fans tracked his plane to Shannon, Ireland, ahead of the J.P. McManus Pro-Am. Later, his jet was seen heading to the Bahamas during the Hero World Challenge, a tournament he hosts. Each trip seemed to line up with either a competition, a sponsor commitment, or an event he couldn't miss. The plane had become a silent signal. When Tiger's Gulfstream showed up, something important was about to happen. And then came the real shock, when insiders finally described what was inside the jet. Yes, there were the usual trappings of luxury: plush leather seats, large windows, fold-out work tables, and a state-of-the-art entertainment system. But Tiger's plane went much further. It was customized for his unique lifestyle as one of the world's most disciplined athletes. There was an area specifically designed for therapy, complete with a massage table. Imagine being able to get treatment for sore muscles while flying 30,000 feet in the air. Reports also describe compartments containing folders of his old medical scans, X-rays and MRIs of his back and leg. Those who saw them said Tiger's expression changed as he looked at the images, a reminder of the pain and battles he's carried for years. Another section of the jet was said to include secure storage for his golf clubs, training aids, and even portable putting mats. For Tiger, travel time wasn't downtime. It was a chance to keep working, keep training. Even while in the sky, the galley wasn't just filled with snacks. It was stocked with nutrient-dense foods, sports drinks, supplements, and carefully prepared meals. Everything was organized, labeled, and measured. Just like a professional sports facility. And tucked away in a luggage compartment, customs officials once reported seeing portable recovery equipment, compression devices, cryotherapy units, and stretching tools. Legal, yes, but unusual to see packed on an aircraft. It showed just how much Tiger valued staying in peak condition no matter where he was. This wasn't just a jet, it was a flying training center, a moving recovery room, and in many ways, a piece of Tiger's soul in the sky. But the details that surprised people most weren't the equipment or the therapy stations. They were personal touches. Inside one drawer, there were handwritten strategy notes and course maps. Creased, worn, and marked up with personal reminders, these weren't for display. They were working notes, reminders of how Tiger broke down tournaments, hole by hole. It was like stepping into the mind of a champion. In another locked compartment, there were reports of a case filled with rare, engraved golf balls. Each one marked a career milestone, from major championships to unforgettable wins. Wrapped carefully in cloth, they weren't trophies for the public to see. They were private treasures that traveled with him everywhere. And then there were the sentimental details, framed family photos mounted on the walls, a small display of trophies, even custom monograms stitched into the leather headrests. These little touches made the jet feel less like a corporate machine and more like a sanctuary, a place where Tiger could feel at home, even when flying halfway around the world. For fans, hearing about these details made one thing clear. This wasn't just transportation, it was Tiger's life, condensed into one extraordinary aircraft. Once those details leaked out, the media storm was immediate. Sports channels analyzed every inch of the jet, pointing out how few athletes in history owned something of this caliber. Business analysts explained how the plane wasn't just a luxury. It was an investment in efficiency, saving time, and preserving energy for competition. Lifestyle outlets took a different angle, focusing on symbolism. They pointed out how the jet's presence at certain airports became its own kind of announcement. No words, no press conference, just a landing in Augusta or the Bahamas was enough to set off speculation. On social media, the reaction split. Some fans admired Tiger's dedication, noting how even his jet was tailored to keep him at peak performance. Others worried about privacy, questioning whether this kind of constant tracking was fair to someone who clearly values discretion. And aviation hobbyists, they loved it. Communities of plane spotters suddenly had new energy, eager to catch a glimpse of the famous N5N117TW. For them, each sighting was a victory, a chance to connect with one of the biggest names in sports in a unique way. At first glance, it might be tempting to think the jet is just another extravagant purchase. But when you look closer, it's clear why it matters so much. For Tiger, the Gulfstream isn't just about avoiding long security lines or skipping crowded terminals. It's about protecting his health, his time, and his focus. After a grueling tournament, instead of wasting hours on layovers or delayed flights, he can be home in Florida by evening, recovering faster and preparing for the next challenge. It also gives him the flexibility to attend last-minute sponsor events or charity outings without losing valuable practice time. For an athlete whose career is built on precision, those hours saved are everything. And then there's the privacy. By flying out of smaller airports near his home, Tiger avoids the chaos of major hubs. That not only makes travel smoother, but also safer and more discreet. For someone constantly in the spotlight, that level of control is priceless. So yes, it's a luxury, but it's also a strategic advantage, one that has played a quiet yet powerful role in his career. Looking at the bigger picture, the jet has become more than just a means of travel. It's an extension of Tiger's professional and personal life. Through his golf course design company, foundation work, and sponsor obligations, Tiger is constantly moving. The G5550 lets him visit a project in another state in the morning and still be home by dinner. Without it, that kind of schedule would be almost impossible. During rehab periods, the jet has been essential. After surgeries, he could control the cabin environment, temperature, seating, comfort, to make long flights bearable. That kind of control isn't available on commercial flights, and for someone managing pain, it makes all the difference. The jet also opens doors to international play. With its range, Tiger can fly nonstop to Asia, Europe, or the Middle East, competing in tournaments without the extra fatigue of connecting flights. That alone shapes the kind of schedule he can commit to each year. And finally, there's the mental side. Athletes often talk about how draining constant travel can be. But having a familiar space in the form of a private jet brings consistency. No matter where he is in the world, Tiger steps into an environment that feels like home. That stability helps him perform, recover, and stay grounded. So what does Tiger Woods' private jet really reveal? Not a scandal, not just extravagance, but something deeper. A story about how one man built a sanctuary in the sky, a place that reflects his battles, his triumphs, and the extraordinary demands of his life. Every detail, from the recovery tools to the handwritten notes, shows that this plane isn't just about luxury. It's about survival, preparation, and staying one step ahead in a career where every second counts. And maybe that's the lesson here. For Tiger, the jet isn't a symbol of distance from fans. It's a reminder of what it takes to keep going at the highest level. But now I want to hear from you. If you had the chance to design a private jet, what would you put inside? Would you focus on comfort, work, or maybe something totally unexpected? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you come up with.